SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. The wait is over.
Let's get this thing started.
Go!
Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 102 of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and this week we have one special guest appearance by two people that have been a big part of this show. Numbers 1 and 3 on the leaderboard. But I'm going to start this out first with the man who has 8 total appearances thus far coming into this show. He is a contributing writer to the Black and Gold Banneret, as well as to the three-point conversion, as well as the director of A7BN Sports. Give it up for my man with one of the coolest names that I know so far, Kyle Nash. Welcome back to the show, brother.
Honor, joy, and privilege. By the way, I don't know if you had the opportunity to observe since the whole time I've started doing the Duval Dive here on the SIRTOBA Media Network, where the struggle is real to be awesome. I, too, now also write for the Jaguar Report, a fan nation of Sports Illustrated. So there's that, you know.
I wanted Kyle Nash to give his own take on that. I was saving the floor for you. You did a great job bringing that up, Kyle Nash, because it was your time to bring your announcement. I didn't want to steal your thunder when it came to your announcements of your accomplishments this year in 2023.
Hashtag talent. Let's do the thing.
My boy, my man. Come here now to the next one and the next contestant panelist for this show. For the 18 times this man's been on the show, he has evolved ever since last year under my wing when it comes to this show right here, the In or Out Sports Debate, and definitely had done some great things when it comes to covering the Virginia Tech Hokies for the Legacy Maker Sports Network as a contributor for them. Give it up for the 18-time Vault of Fame inductee, number 1 on the leaderboard, my man, Joey Raymond. Welcome back to the show, brother.
Dude, I'm so excited to be back. This is awesome. I said it in the green room. I'll say it again. I'm excited to be here with Kyle Nash. This is a man that I've wanted to do some stuff with for a while now. And yeah, dude, this is going to be such a great show. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Thanks for having me back, Drew.
Anytime, bro. I mean, Kyle, look at the detail that Joey has put into his background. That he did that just for you, just for this episode right here.
Yeah. I mean, listen, for all my ego, I'm still humbled by this tribute. And hey, listen, Drew Willingham, you have star power here, right? You have the man who has the most shows by volume and the man who has the most shows by percentage, both on your show. Statistically significant stats, by the way. That's how long In or Out Sports Debate's been going on. Who's the winner? You, me, Joseph Ray down there? No, it's the world.
It definitely is the world, and this production is brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
The firepower right there, you guys. When it comes to this show, we've had some great fun throughout. Now, this will be 102 episodes. Came back last week with episode 101 after a hiatus with Brandon Guy for an all-out professional wrestling episode. Gave some predictions on some things that are coming up forward. But as always, when it comes to the beginning of this show, we have to pay homage to those in the past, and especially those with the two biggest star power right here when it comes to this show in the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the In or Out Sports Debate Vault of Fame, which you can find on the audio platforms listed here on Spotify, Amazon Prime, Anchor.fm, Google Podcasts, as well as iTunes, and in your stuff right here when it comes to the Struggle is Real to Be Awesome on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and the latest at SIRTOBA.com. We are back, though, for episode 102 of the In or Out Sports Debate, where we've got some great topics ahead of you guys tonight. When it comes to this, without further ado,
Let's get ready to rumble!
Round one.
here for round one. The San Francisco 49ers will remain undefeated longer than the Philadelphia Eagles based on remaining schedule. When it comes to this one right here, Kyle Nash, how do you feel about this one? Do you agree with the statement at hand? Are you in or are you out on this one?
This is going to be interesting because it could be a series of unfortunate events or it could be spot on. But I'm in on this one, Drew Willingham. Now, I know what you're thinking, crew. Oh, look, Kyle's a big fan homer again. Listen, okay, the first interview I had was Richard Sherman. First video interview I had was Richard Sherman, fresh off of Crabtree as a sorry receiver throat/hole situation over in 2014 at the Players Association at the Waldorf here in Orlando. But the punchline is this. If the Niners get through the Cowboys game upcoming, which I'm not going to spoil anything, I'm going to talk about that an awful lot of what I'm going to pick more precisely on the Student of the Game podcast tomorrow night here on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Bing! But the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to think for just a minute. And by the way, this is not me indicting the Philadelphia Eagles. We are here mentioning the top three teams in the NFC. I get it. The NFC is not really the impressive conference, but nonetheless, those are your three elite teams at the moment. People be trying to tell me it's the Seahawks. Somebody tell Nick Wright to focus on the Chiefs and nothing else. That's a failure. Anyways, that's right. Some Nick Wright schmack in there tonight, gentlemen. But why I think the Eagles will take a loss first is simply because of the different ways that the 49ers can hit you. If the Niners make it past the Cowboys, because it's either going to be the Niners lose to the Cowboys or they're going to outlast the Eagles. That's my nuanced answer. But if the Niners handle business against the Cowboys, the fact that they've already struggled against your Red Tails, Commanders, Drew Willingham, and done what they have. And by the way, they have their conference games to battle still too. They have the Cowboys twice they have to get past. Not a simple concept. Sure, they get a break with the Giants, but hey, now I don't want to talk about the Giants too much other than being proven right about who the actual coach of the year was, Doug Peterson, and who the actual MVP was, Saquon Barkley. But nobody wants to talk about that right now. They're not ready for that conversation, Joey Raymond. I am freaking tangenting. But I think I've made my choice pretty clear, and it's based on the tougher divisional road that the Eagles have to face.
That's a really solid take there, Kyle Nash. I'll give you that one when it comes to that. I got some interesting things to say, but I can't go before Joseph on this one. Joseph, how do you feel about this one? Do you agree with him? Are you in, or are you going to debate this one? Are you mother, father, and out, Joseph?
All right, Drew B. I'm actually going to
No, Joseph.
down. I'm going to go with Kyle Nash. I am in. And just like Kyle Nash said, it's all about the schedule. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. I do have the 49ers beating the Cowboys. At the end of the day, like Kyle Nash just said, they are so dynamic in what they do, and they are so good at what they do that I just think that they are going to be too much for the Cowboys to handle. And when you look at, their schedule versus what the Eagles have going on, there is just no way in my mind that the Eagles can stay undefeated longer than the 49ers, because the 49ers don't play anybody when it comes past the Cowboys. If you get past that, you have the Browns, the Vikings, the Bengals, who are a joke right now. And then you have the Jaguars, where you finally might face some competition. But, then you look at the Eagles, who have to play your Commanders, who are pretty good. They've got to play the Rams, who are really good. They've got to play the Jets, which they'll probably win. They've got to play these Cowboys. But, that's what I'm saying is, the strength of schedule for the Eagles is much harder than what the 49ers have. There is absolutely no way that the 49ers don't stay undefeated longer than the Philadelphia Eagles. There's just no way.
Okay. You guys bring some really solid points to this. And,
great minds think alike come to mind here, Drew.
Throughout. Okay. and you guys have got some great comments going here, and I'll acknowledge all of them here after we go through round one. But
all in due time, Drew Willingham.
Just this show right here. Before I give my take, this show right here, I have endured some health issues throughout, but it's not going to happen today. I'm going to keep it all together and keep it all in check when I give this one. But it's time for the first time in quite some time, and especially in round one in a trios episode, that I disagree with you guys. I am mother, father, and out. All right, people.
Let me talk to you.
You two want to come up here and get all buddy with the first take of this show. But I'm going to sit here and bring some cold, hard facts. One of these two teams has the potential opportunity to go into their December 3rd matchup against each other as undefeated still. Okay. And, there's one roadblock in the way. The 49ers, I believe, between now and that December 3rd game, could potentially lose one game in this entire remaining schedule. Okay. Some of you are going to be shocked when I say which one that I feel is going to be the one. And I talked about it earlier. And I excluded Kyle Nash from this take on Total Football Talk earlier today when I gave a long-winded take on this one. Kyle Nash is excluded because he speaks the truth, which is why he was eloquent in his take here in round one, because I always test Kyle Nash when it comes to this team right here to see, and he always delivers every mother, father in time with a right down the middle take with it. He is not giving you a biased one. But, however, there are some people out here that want to flex and get behind a podcast mic with some headphones, whatever you want to do, and pretend you're a podcaster and speak about this team right here. But you know what you do? You get all emotional about it, and it doesn't make sense half the time. And this is why this take right here is dedicated to you. When it comes to the potential loss the 49ers are going to face in this remaining schedule, I think it's going to be this week against the Cowboys. And the reason why I say that is you're going to face the best defense you have faced all season long. The offense is an absolute dumpster fire in Dallas, okay? As we saw, the defense has been carrying them through. This is why they lost to the Arizona Cardinals, for Christ's sake, okay? But we're going to sit back here and we're going to acknowledge the truth. And the truth is this defense is nasty. And if they stay healthy and there's no hiccups and Dak Prescott does not turn the ball over and they pressure Brock Purdy to get his first regular season loss, which it's coming, There's no way this kid is going to be undefeated this year. It's either going to happen this week against the Cowboys or you're going to lose against the Eagles. One of the two. I'm calling it right now. And I'm calling it this week is going to happen against the Cowboys and their defense because the Eagles have a solid defense, but they don't have – they got a solid defense, but they're known primarily more right now for their offense and or at least for last year and how they got as far as they did. Okay, this year they kind of got lucky with this past week against Washington because Washington almost had their number right there towards the end, or at least coming back and giving them pressure. If there was a game they were going to lose, it was going to be this past week, and that was the pressure because the divisional games are always tight there at the NFC East. Okay, even if the Commanders are having their worst year, they'll still give you the most problems in their 6 divisional games. And this week, I have a big feeling. It's some of these people that get behind the mic and saying that the 49ers are unstoppable and Brock Purdy's the next Tom Brady and blah, 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 blah. You're going to get humbled this weekend, and that's why I'm glad Kyle Nash is not a part of that class.
Who in the flying hell said Brock Purdy was going to be the next mother-fathering Tom Brady? I'm glad you excluded me real damn fast. I would have interrupted your rant. That's the toughest dish I've ever heard. First of all, Brock Purdy can run way better than Tom Brady. Anyways, I'm kidding.
Look, two words. Christian McCaffrey. That's all I got to say.
Well, here's the problem, Joey Raymond. You know I respect that. I would call McCaffrey 3 words as a joke, but I like what you did there. You're more accurate, okay? And here's the thing. You can't limit that offense to one Christian McCaffrey. There is Brandon Ayuk. There's George Kittle. There's the fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, right? He's
right.
Who else who's not named Harbaugh uses the damn fullback still? Samuel out on the edge or wherever they want to put him. But you want to try to tell me about only the offense being explosive. Drew Willingham, the reason the Niners got to where they got last year was that defense. And by the way, as far as I know, that defense, with no disrespect to the Cowboys or the player in question, did not lose a top DB in Trayvon Diggs. Last I heard, linebacker Fred Warner is still healthy, and Micah Parsons is dangerous AF, but he can't be everywhere. Time and physics are the only thing that can slow Micah Parsons. And listen, here's the thing. The one thing you leave out is the very same Cowboys who threaten the 49ers so much, allegedly. The Eagles have to face them the first time before they play the 49ers, and you've just decided, well, because I'm Drew Willingham and I'm awesome, I'm just up for the Eagles. Bruh, come on now.
But how often do you hear a fan of the Commanders or any team give it up for the rival when it comes to games like this? I mean,
Well,
it's not often. You know me for giving credit where credit's due. And I have to.
You posed a question. I feel I have to answer it. It's like a political debate. You called me out. I get a minute and a half. But the only reason why you're giving them that pass, Drew Willingham, is because they already beat you. And it's in the past and it's done. We're in the future. And I mean, I get Joey Raymond laughing. Maybe it's the fact that facts don't care about your feelings, Drew Willingham. Maybe that's it. But
they haven't played this year. So why are my feelings? Feelings are emotional about it. They haven't played this year. I'm going off of this year.
The Red Tails, didn't the Eagles just escape from the Red Tails recently? Wasn't that last week? Barely. Yeah, that's my point. They've already played. And the second Red Tails game with the Eagles
in FedEx
is after the Niners game. So that's the reason why. See, that's the thing. You try, I'm not keeping up. It's because like time and space won't let you in this argument, buddy. They've either lost or they won't come up again. And that's not trash talk. I mean, that's psychology. You know what I'm saying?
Where does the Commanders have to come up with any of that? That has nothing to do with psychology. I'm talking about the Cowboys beating the 49ers.
The reason why I give you Commanders credit there is they were the ones that ended the streak last year. Oh, but you traded away the actual good tasting beer that was a good quarterback and went with the guy who was incomplete without a bunch of L's in his name, Sam Howell.
Very true. I just feel like that the 49ers will more than likely lose this weekend, and they will still continue on the winning ways and beat the Eagles when they face them. I think that they have a better shot of beating the Eagles than they do going up against, because even though they don't have Trayvon Diggs, that Cowboys defense is still nasty. Yes, they do miss him, but the rest of that defense was already sound around him. So that's why they're still making noise. If it wasn't for that Cardinals game, there wouldn't be shade thrown at this team right now, but it's the dumpster Pelican play of the offense and the quarterback that they have there. They're paying too much money for the bad mistakes he's making.
And he won't make any of those against the Niners defense. I'll hand it right back to you and just so you can put a bow on it, Joey Raymond, but I have to say this.
Okay.
You accuse one thing. The defense is going to make Brock Purdy make mistakes because he's made so many of those.
Yeah, right.
But meanwhile, Dakota Prescott is suddenly mistake-prone free after he just lost to the mother-fathering Cardinals. Buddy, you can't have this both ways. And the last thing I'll punch with, as many jokes as I make about with people with a bunch of L's in their name like Sam Howell, you have L's in your name there, Drew Willingham, but it's not because of this debate. In fact, they don't exist because you are L-proof, sir.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Look, all I was going to say is, to Kyle Nash's point, there is too many offensive weapons on the 49ers and not enough defensive weapons on the Cowboys. Like, there is a reason that they lost to the Cardinals, and it wasn't just because of the fact that, our offense didn't, show up. I mean, if you look at that game, I mean, they fell apart. Like, I mean, and that's just like offensively, defensively, like it just was not a good game for the Cowboys. And so
real quick, that poor bastard keeps getting thrown into horrible situations.
Absolutely. But when you're talking about a team that fell apart against a team like the Cardinals, and then you expect them to play just as well against a team with as much offensive firepower as the 49ers, with as good of a defense as the 49ers have, there's just absolutely no, I just don't see the Cowboys winning this game. It'll be close, I'll give them that, but the 49ers are going to come out on top.
Yeah, you'll notice the one part of Drew's argument I didn't go after is it might be the Cowboys this week. I relinquish that. I get that.
Yeah.
That's good. And I'll give a damn how the game ends. It's going to be quality football.
Yeah. No, that's going to be one of the best games to watch this week.
Part of me, I wanted to agree with you, but however, when it comes to the debate show, we can't always agree on everything. And there have been times where we'll go through rounds and we'll agree on stuff, which, deservingly so, because we can't really argue against each other on certain things.
I mean,
this one, based on the defense, I just felt like was a compelling enough argument that I had to bring it to the table and give some diversity into the show where we're going at each other in this debate show. But with that being said, I will take my hat off to you if I'm wrong this upcoming weekend. I acknowledge it right now, and I'll share this clip next week when that happens, because it might and it might not. Who knows?
It's a close one either way. Hey, listen, you might look much better making that argument than losing a baseball debate to me. I'm just saying.
Which, Joseph and I normally will talk some baseball this time of the year, but because of your deficiencies with the knowledge of baseball, I left it out there. It's okay, but nothing against you. It's not for everyone.
See, that's a talented host. He realizes he lost the debate on the argument he didn't want to make, and then takes a shot at the baseball deficiency.
Right? I mean, I get it. But, if we did do a baseball debate, I already know that Drew would sweep for the leg and immediately go after my Cubbies, who fell apart the last month of the season.
God. Even I knew
it was so bad. It was awful.
Joseph, there's still a final word. Final word is
God!
For everything.
Here we go.
Final word. You just opened up a can of worms. I might have a two-parter for the final word. But with this, we've got some comments we want to acknowledge. Thank you guys for watching this live, being here. We do this for you, so we appreciate you watching it live or syndicated after it is on the air. But right now, we've gone through round one. And Ike is in the house, says this may go down as the best trios episode ever. We've had some great ones in the past. And, based on my performance earlier today with Cole Johnson, Total Football Talk, it's going to be tough to top that. But so far, we're coming out. Yes, bing, we're coming out the gate with the fire. And it's looking like it may. With this one, I am on Facebook, Drew. Says Mickey Delaney. Well, thank you very much there, Mick. Hi, Kyle. What up with your hair?
That's a hat.
It's a hat there. It's not like Wendy's red hair or anything. It is definitely a hat there for Kyle Nash.
Shit out those pigtails though.
Kyle Nash with that. And on that note,
Stop it. Get some help.
to the next comment. Mick is out on this first round topic when it comes to this one. So Mick agrees with me on this one. He does not agree with you guys when it comes to that. Ike, stay in your lane.
Already going after Ike.
And he's coming after you, saying, hurry the hell up, Kyle.
No, that is fair. I apologize for that. I'm sorry, Mick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mick's trying to come up here and say this, Kyle.
He can certainly try.
Kyle Nash coming back with the
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Thank you guys for the comments. It looks like Ike's giving me a hard time like Joseph does with his makeshift nickname there when it comes to that one. Joey and Kai are high as hell. On what? Like, I mean,
life. We're high on life.
We're high on sports.
Just because they are going in with the topic doesn't mean they're high on anything. I mean, I respect their top. Hey, but I had to throw in this shade for this weekend. We'll see how it goes. They'll either be right and I'll be wrong, or vice versa. We'll see. Joe Cardoso's in the house. Says, yo. Good evening, gentlemen, along with Niner Gang with this on up in the shocker on up in the air and some laughing emojis at the shenanigans that we had during this round one. Thank you all for tuning in. With that being said, we're going to carry this into round two and see what we got in store for that one. Looks like Joseph is going to get excited. I'm going to have to let him go first with this next one, Kyle.
Round two.
Here with round two, the Virginia Tech Hokies' underwhelming play this season will cost Brent Pry his job by year end. Joseph, with your experience covering the Virginia Tech Hokies as well as an alumni of that school, the floor is yours. Are you in or are you out on this one?
Let me tell you, I am so tired of answering this stupid question.
I feel you. Covering UCF back when Josh Heupel was still in the house, I'd had to deal with the same thing, bro.
Well, and the Pitt game helped. But I'm gonna go out. It's not gonna cost him his job. Everything that, upper level people say, like, Brent Pry is fine. Now, however, if you worded this question, does Tyler Bowen lose his job by the end of the year? I might be more inclined to agree with that, because the thing is that all of last year, Brent Pry said, our offense looks vanilla. Literally word for word said our offense is vanilla. And it's really easy to prepare for, and it really struggle. That's what our struggle is offensively. And I'm struggling to find words right now because this question is kind of irrational. You get the guy in, you think he's like your guy, and then you're already ready to turn on him after a single year. You don't even give him a chance to turn programs around. And that's the thing about college football that really bothers me nowadays, is that, people are, with the transfer portal and with NIL, everybody's like, we got to have it now. And you don't really give a guy a chance to really build a program. And genuinely, Brent Pry, is improving this team. Recruiting has exponentially gotten way better since Brent Pry but on the daily grind, the team looks better. They're more physical. They're playing at a higher level. And yes, they're not quite winning games yet, but then you look at what it looks like when it all comes together. Ixtay, the Pitt game, where we ended up scoring 38 points, and everybody's like, oh, well, you know what? We're just going to forget what we just said, last week when we lost to Marshall. Like, it's fine. Like, and that's just incredibly frustrating. You know, you've got to let a guy get in there and get his chance. They're finally getting healthy again. This is a program that is on the up and up, and you just got to give it time. We're about to get absolutely destroyed by Florida State, but that's fine. Like, we're gonna move on after Florida State, and it's gonna be great. Like, it's gonna be fine. You just got to give it time.
Joseph, you absolutely crushed it right there. That take. I gotta take my hat off to you, but I can't right now. I've got headphones on over top of it. But what I can say is that the hat is off to you there, sir. You came out there, and you know, with the fist on your shirt you're talking about, you made it. You came out here swinging, and you did a great job with that.
You can't really see it, but yeah, it
Well,
says making a fist and checking you twice.
I like it.
Yeah, it's getting to, you know, I don't even want to think about the holidays, but at least that one kind of gets me excited about it a little bit. So the great
father.
With that being said, Kyle, do you agree with his take on that? Are you out on this one, or do you disagree? Are you in?
You know, my wrestling knowledge isn't enough to know the wrestler in question, but I do know there's clips out there of a wrestler saying, "I'm sorry," and then kicking a dude in the face. Okay. Drew Willingham is a sinister SOB for doing this, purposefully bringing an ACC topic into the building. Knowing I would go for your throat for that overrated sorry conference. The question is posed is, will Fry get fired at the end of this year? I'm in. Let me be clear. I'm saying sorry as I'm kicking Joey Raymond in the face here, and it's Drew Willingham's fault for bringing in the hapless ACC, all that it is. I mean, come on. You let Notre Dame come in like a mercenary, somebody who typically plays nobody, a.k.a. your conference, and dominated it until Trevor Lawrence got healthy, and I blame you. Let me be clear about all of the above. Maybe I'm still bitter about that. But listen, Joey, here's the thing. Your take on Fry and why he should stay is short-term and beautifully and eloquently phrased from a football perspective. Hell, I even agree with you. But here's the problem. And you mentioned the volatility regarding the player side of college football, and you also cited the increase in recruiting. But let me tell you something, especially somebody who is covering a fledgling Power 5 school in UCF that's already bitching at Gus Malzahn about the fact that he's broken recruiting records for the past 3 seasons. Yes, literally new records broken at the program every damn year he's been here recruiting. College football is versatile, and the reason why Fry's job is still at risk is because of the mother-fathering ACC and that sorry agreement that they have. The fact that FSU is in a place that's an alleged big brand and is making more money than FSU is not only ruining the minds of people at FSU, but the rest of the conference. And the fact that UCF is probably making more money than them. And they need to make a splash hire to remedy that, because it's only a matter of time before the ACC goes the way of the dodo that is the Pac-12, which ironically decided to get good after they got broken up. But that's another conversation for another show. Other than maybe in basketball, ACC ain't good like that. Hashtag I said it. Okay, Miami is not back. They pulled one win out of their butt, and all they needed to get it was to take Matt Lee from UCF. But UCF's the fraud, even though we need their players. By the way, does anybody check out Tommy Castellanos? Almost beat FSU. I'm just saying, yeah, that's another UCF transfer who you couldn't live without. Pitt, the only program I know that printed off T-shirts for beating a G5 team. Yeah, that was UCF too, folks. Your hapless conference is the reason why Fry is a threat, and that's because Virginia Tech will be trying to make themselves look good to get snatched up by a legitimate conference. I'm sorry, Joey Raymond, that really hurt me.
Acknowledge me.
Kyle came.
Kyle went in.
Kyle,
I didn't see that much, buddy. It's not your fault.
Kyle just brought his trademark fire to Joseph right there. I was wondering.
I am honored.
Minded that, Drew Willingham. Don't you dare apologize. You listen, you son of a. I know.
I did when writing this show. I did have
thoughts.
You are absolutely correct. I did have some thoughts there. However, we are at a point now in this show where I knew we were going to get to this point at some point in the show where it's split before I even get to give my take. And this one this is a really tough one because, and I'm going to admit it, like, this is probably the first time in the history of the show. And I've been close to where I've been conflicted before, but the first time where both of you like give the equal amount of argument to where like I literally have my arms out like this and I'm being pulled side to side because I am conflicted. When it comes to my take on this, based on some points that Joey said, I'm going to have to agree with him. I'm out on this as well. It was tough because Kyle came up here with some compelling arguments to the point where I had already predetermined to be out on this one, right? But with listening to what Kyle was saying, like that was where the whole feeling of getting pulled back and forth was going on because I was like, wow, I'm completely mother, father, and wrong. I need to go in a different direction here. I've been thinking about this completely wrong. And Kyle comes up here and then all of a sudden,
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
like a light flipped on back upstairs. And I'm thinking to myself, Drew, you already did your homework before you came on the show. Yes, you wrote it a certain way because you had some sinister thoughts for what one Kyle Nash would do, but you also did it to give the floor for Joseph. And Joseph came up here and brings one solid point that kind of trumps everything that Kyle said, unfortunately, because Kyle, again, when my arms were like this, I'm telling you, man, I can't say it enough. Said some great stuff. With one thing that Joey said that compelled everything over top of that is you just brought this man in. He hadn't been in there long enough to really establish anything. He already walked into somewhat of a dumpster fire when he came in there, and he's trying to fix things out. Joey and I have been talking about this for like the last 2 years about the type of situations that were going on with Virginia Tech and the things that kind of had to get culminated, like, cleaned up a little bit in order for them to be a successful football team. And when I look at what they've done this year, yes, they're playing underwhelming play, but they only lost to Purdue by 7. When they went up against Rutgers, of course, Rutgers is not that much of an established team. You don't really see them losing in the fashion they should, like 35-16. But in Marshall was another close game. In Pitt, of course, you got smacked around there. You're going through growing pains here, but you just got there. You got to give it a little bit more time. And of course, Joseph's got the right attitude. You're going to go into Florida State and get smacked around. It is going to happen this weekend. I'm sorry. It's happening this weekend. They're going to get smacked so hard, they're going to have red marks on their rear ends just from coming out of that game as much as they're going to get smacked around. Wake Forest is no joke, too. And then, I could go on with Syracuse and number 25, Louisville and BC, and the list goes on. You got NC State and Virginia to round it all out to end the season. And it doesn't look promising to where you're going to get to a bowl game this year already. You're going to have to turn things around quick, and you're going to have to start with this Florida State game. And it's not happening. So when I think about it, yeah, Kyle is right with many things that he brings to the table with this. And, in the way that the mindset of college football and the way that businesses are in general nowadays when it comes to underperformance, they're quick to really kick you on out the door rather than care about your feelings, which you'd brought for years to come, even if you've been there for a few years, and what you had established and how much you'd helped them grow. Yeah, they're real quick to kick you on out the door. So I have to agree with Joey right here. You need to be loyal to your people and not be quick to kick them on out the door when they have the first infraction of something that's going on inside the house. Be real and not be fake, because that's the only way you get successful out here in these streets, and why some people are more successful than others in shorter periods of time. I rest my case.
Now, I do have a rebuttal for both of you. I'll start with Kyle Nash. So, for the record, Virginia Tech is the 3rd highest grossing team in the ACC based off of overall money, whatever the heck that means, only behind Florida State and Clemson. So not only that, but they've sold out literally every single game this year, all the way down to Syracuse, going past where we are now.
And I'm speaking to TV revenue when I say that.
Yeah. No, I get you with the ACC. It's a crap. It is absolute crapshoot. But to the point to kind of put a bow on that is Virginia Tech, whether they're good or bad, whoever's at the helm, Virginia Tech's probably going to get picked up by one of the bigger, higher programs, only because of the fact that they carry that following that I don't think a lot of people really fully comprehend. Virginia Tech is a fully national name brand that makes a crap load of money. They just don't advertise that they make a crap load of money. And so, it's one of those things where they're going to bring a lot of money to one of those big conferences when the ACC inevitably falls apart, because I absolutely agree with that. And then to Drew's point, I think that, you're right in a lot of ways in that, this team is really close, and Brent Pry hasn't been there for long. But if you notice in those games, like Drew said, they were 7 points behind Purdue. And the only reason that I think that they lost that game is because a hurricane ran through and they delayed the game for 5 hours and 27 minutes. And then Purdue forced them to play it. And then to the Rutgers game, that game, Virginia Tech was only 1 point behind going into the fourth quarter, and then they fell apart. And then going into the Marshall game, they were close the entire way, and then again fell apart in the fourth quarter. And then when they finally said, hey, Chiron, who's now the starting quarterback, when we're going to give you the offense, and you're going to run with it, and we're going to pick plays that are going to put you in a position to be successful. And they did that, and look at what happens. You go to Pitt comes to town, and you put up 38. If you do that every single week, they have a shot. They're still going to lose, but they have a shot to be a lot more competitive.
BC made it 1 point, homie. Let's remember that.
Exactly. Yeah, BC made it close. You have a very real shot to keep this game closer than what everybody thinks that it's going to be. Virginia Tech right now is a 26-point underdog against Florida State. I don't think that it's going to be that much of a blowout. I have Virginia Tech. I really feel like it's going to be a lot closer than that.
You'll cover. See, by the way, what's so deliciously ACC about this conversation? Golly jeepers, it was close to Butgers. We could have beaten Purdue, and it was close against Marshall. Are you mother-fathering kidding me? You're proud of that, Raymond? Think about what you just said and sit in your room for a while. I know you do.
Wow.
Marshall was close. You're getting a G5 moral victory right now. What are you, Pitt? No, wait, you beat them. The truth is, you do have the correct answer, because reviving a program is a tough thing to do. And the football answer is the one you gave. I said so in my retort. But here's the thing about my response. You can't rule me out.
This topic was great. I mean, like I said, I was conflicted. I almost went and was compelled with Kyle's statement to do that. And of course, Dante, I'll acknowledge your comment here in a second. I want to acknowledge the fans for a second. We got Dante saying, "What's up, guys?" Even Joe Cardoso's in here saying, "Well, go ahead, Kyle." Because Kyle came up in here, it melted people's faces with what he was saying. Like that, I was how I was feeling. My face was melting as I was hearing what Kyle Nash had to say. Virginia Tech and UVA are so frustrating. The DMV have so much talent, only not to play in state.
Hey, listen, I had the privilege of talking to a former UVA player who transferred to UCF because, the lowly UCF managed to pull away a prospect in the form of one Ryan Swoboda, who may not have made the roster with the Lions, but was with them in camp. And his retort when I apologized for my ACC criticism and informing him was mostly because of Florida State. He said, well, we beat the Noles every year I played them. So there you go. But no, listen, at the end of the day, this conference makes me sick. Don't go to your room, Joey Raymond. I need a shower just talking about it.
No, I honestly, that was like the best response that I think I've gotten to anything when it comes to this team or talking about them. And having covering them now every single week, every single day. Like, you have these conversations a lot, as I'm sure that you have with UCF, and
especially
that's probably
game. Damn it.
Oh yeah, and that's probably the best response I think I've ever received when talking about this team.
To sum it up, Kyle, in every topic we've had for the Virginia Tech Hokies on this show, I have given dumpster pelican-like answers, according to Joseph now, apparently, because you are the godfather the king of responding to what the Virginia Tech Hokies can do out here in these streets.
Listen. Here's the thing. There's a premise of bringing the ugly friend to the club. You made the mistake of being a handsome human being and attending the club in question with Antonio Banderas. That's on you, okay? You just chose the handsome friend. That's all you did.
That's all I can do is give you a little hair flip right there.
That was beautiful.
12
See?
inches of greatness. All right, it's what you
That's
get
what
right
she
there.
said. Anyways,
Jonah has arrived as well. What's up, brother? Welcome to
Hey.
the show. Thank you all for tuning in live and for commenting. We'll acknowledge more of your comments as we go. As Dante says, get him, Nash. Kyle Nash was definitely on fire with this take, and I don't want to put that fire out, but we're better than TNT, as TNT gives you a mother-fathering commercial every 4 minutes. It's been 45 minutes, and we're just now going to our first commercial break. We'll see you guys back in about 90 seconds.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition, dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Monday at 3:05 p.m. Eastern, 2:05 p.m. Central. Exclusively on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 102. We are back from commercial break with the legends here, Kyle Nash, student of the game, and JR, Joey Raymond. We are back as we've got some great things to go forward with you. But before we do that, we actually have some breaking motherfathering news. And that breaking news is this. Next Tuesday, the man, myth, and legend Ryan O'Neal of WQEE 99.1 FM in Atlanta, Georgia, is here next Tuesday, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, for episode 103 of the In or Out Sports Debate. But now we are back for episode 102, as we still got 4 great rounds ahead of us. And with that being said, let's go ahead and take this into round 3.
Round 3.
Here with round 3, it's time to light up the hoodie. He looks cold in here, but he's about to get real hot. When it comes to this one, Bill Belichick should undoubtedly be on the hot seat after last week's loss to the Cowboys. Kyle Nash, how do you feel about this one? Do you agree with the statement at hand? Are you in or are you out on this one, sir?
You know, I appreciate that there are only a number of other panelists I heard focus on the wording of the question. Joey Ray, of course, among them here tonight that did this very show. The wording of the question drives my answer. Undoubtedly is the key word. I am out. Listen, the reference I have that comes to mind in my head is one Joseph Paterno. What did it take for him to get excised from Penn State? We don't want to talk about it. We all know what it is, okay? But once the job was done, it literally killed the guy, okay? Here's my whole thing. Bill Belichick has gotten plenty of cred, obviously, for what he's done. Now, people have incorrectly said, oh, well, because he doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. Listen, you know how he got more Super Bowls after he left? I know Madden rosters that aren't as good as what he took to the Super Bowl. And if Patrick LaVon Mahomes II had all of his offensive linemen, he wouldn't have won that one either. And don't get me started on the false start that kept Tom Brady alive for the year that it was at the Patriots. I digress. Punchline being this. Bill Belichick has some cred. And I commented on this earlier on the Earnestly Speaking podcast when I recorded with my good friend EJ Christian. Bing! But I can't say it's the word undoubtedly. Is his seat hotter? Listen, all I'm telling you is his shorts might be smoking a little bit if he's sitting on the chair in question. Totally get that. And rightly so, in the words of Joel Klatt, right? But how much cred does he have in Boston there? Where they think that he's still wicked awesome, or will it be a wicked pisser that they got to get him out the door there because he's too old? Send him away in the car, whatever. And listen, the previous promo about F everything Boston, I get it. It's not like
you see how it's fitting to have that commercial before this?
Yeah. You were a great producer or something there, Drew Willingham. But the punchline is this. I don't care if I dunk on you constantly in debate. It's a great show because you're here nonetheless. But damn, taking shots and compliment, the back of my hand is a smooth thing. But what I'm trying to say is it all depends on how much credit he has in the front office. And if it's as prickly as the media would have you believe with Robert Kraft, maybe he is in real trouble. I don't think that's the case. And honestly, I think it's less about it being not Tom Brady and more about the prickliness that's going on between he and Mac Jones. And who knows, maybe that will be cited as kind of an issue of Belichick's too, is he can't get along with other quarterbacks that can't keep up with him. I can't speak for all that, but what I can tell you is Jimmy Garoppolo's had a successful career without Belichick coming from there. Jacoby Brissett, while not a regular starter, is a prolific quarterback who got tutelage under him and that offensive crew. Hey, so long as they don't hire Josh McDaniel, should they fire him, that's a good move from where I sit. But hey, here's the thing. If follow me on this, guys, if the Bengals continue to do poorly and Bill Belichick gets fired and then the Bengals hire Bill Belichick, does that mean he's on to Cincinnati?
The Dr. Evil.
Do you really think that's a possibility?
No, I don't. It was just great. What, Willingham? Are you kidding me?
That was great, Kyle. Again, with the antics right there and the shenanigans all at bay within a great statement to give his take on why he feels this way about the statement. Joey, do you agree with his statement at hand? Are you out on this about being undoubtedly on the hot seat?
Well, I was 50-50, but since he took the over, I'll take the under. I am definitely in. Now, look, man, like, I really was 50-50 about this topic only because of the fact that, like, having grown up in a household where my dad is from New Hampshire and is really, like, just involved with Patriot culture. Like, let me tell you, I am so tired of watching the stinking Patriots. And I really, really would just love to see that turn into the largest dumpster fire I've ever seen. Like, just like, let's take the stadium and just burn it. Like, that would be great. Look, man, like, Bill Belichick has gotten to a point where, like, he has really struggled the past, several seasons. Like, I mean, he started, let's see, I've got it written down where he started 1-3 the past, like, 3 straight seasons. Like, that's not okay. And if we were talking about anybody else, we would be saying to get rid of him right now. Literally anybody who starts 1-3, 3 straight seasons should lose their job if you're an NFL coach. Like, you can't consistently maintain success if you are going 1-3 at the start of every single season. The offense is terrible. The defense is showing promise, but when you're supposed to be this offensive coach and your offense looks that bad and you're supposed to have this, like, magical thing with quarterbacks and you can't get Mac Jones to be even, like, remotely inept on the football field, it doesn't look good. And I get it. Bill Belichick has earned some street cred, but is that really enough to justify 3 straight 1-3 seasons? Like, I don't think so.
Are you including the pandemic, Joey Ray?
I believe yes. I believe that would be what that stat includes. Yeah.
Here's the issue with the pandemic.
4 seasons then.
Four seasons if we include the pandemic.
Yeah, because this is 1, 2, 3. This is the third season.
Whatever the last 3 seasons would have been is what I wrote in my notes.
Not including, then my argument doesn't matter right now. Continue.
But yeah, I mean, that's just my whole thing is like any other coach that would starts 1-3, 3 straight seasons. And I guess to that point, if Drew is correct, if they started 1-3 that season as well, then that would be 4 straight 1-3 seasons.
Well, if you're falling into that trap, thank you, Joe Ray. And now I have.
Yeah, that's fine. Like if you want to call it a trap, that's fine. But just in general, if you start 1-3, 3 straight seasons, like that's not a good look. It's not. But I do want to hear what the trap was. So yes, like if I include that COVID season, what is the rebuttal to that?
My man. So first of all, let's understand that Joey Raymond comes out throwing me props, respecting what I do, and he's still not afraid. That's what I'm talking about, Joey Ray. Now come and get your whooping. Here's the thing. Who was his quarterback? It was one Cam Newton. One would argue even washed Cam Newton. But for the first quarter of the season, where you allege he was 1-3, which, I mean, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. It's not like I don't want to, I'm not trying to go after you on like, oh, well, DC, technically it was so-and-so, because you didn't really include it in your argument. I'm not going to be that guy. Like, that's not fun. That's just being an a-hole, like, at that point. Which, technically speaking, the year in question, they were 2-2 and 1 play away from beating the Seahawks and being 3-1. Here's the thing. You're talking about the starts to the season, buddy. Being playoff relevant despite your deficiencies to start. If they had beaten the Bills at the end of the year, if you remember, they made it to the playoffs. With Cam Newton, who was allegedly washed for the first quarter of the season, there's MVP talk for one Cam Newton. And if he doesn't, Cam Newton doesn't get COVID and miss countless practices and completely bleep up the rotation of the team where they're out basically 4 weeks of practices because of COVID contraction through him. Like, other than maybe the Broncos and Drew's Red Tails, there wasn't a team that got hit harder by COVID, and they were still 1 game short of the playoffs. That doesn't happen without one Bill Belichick, okay? But that being said, at this point, that's 4 seasons ago. How much cred does that hold? And really, how much do the fans care about that? If you're going to go that direction, which it doesn't sound like your argument includes 2020, but I feel like that needs to be acknowledged. Everyone's like, well, Tom Brady won the divorce. Nah, he just found a rich chick, okay?
Okay. You guys bring up some points. You go back and forth. I haven't even given my take yet.
I tried to, but listen, Joe, we called for the storm. It wasn't my fault, Drew.
Again, we are split. And it comes down to me, I guess, as a decisive factor in this debate. And it's tough. It really is tough because, again, I come into this with an answer, and I'm, again, not as bad as the last one, but I'm kind of conflicted on this one a little bit. And I'm not trying to do this on purpose and sway one type of way on purpose again, but I have to agree with Joey on this one I'm in as well. This is now year 4 without Tom Brady, okay? And I get what you're saying, Kyle. You bring up some solid points with that, but this is year 4 without Tom Brady. Of course, we already know about the dumpster fire freaking 2020 year with COVID and all that stuff, and bringing in Cam Newton as you had no other option at that point, really, to bring anybody else in to do anything with the team. But you now have had 3 off seasons to develop a quarterback. 3 off seasons. The man I call Mac and Cheese, because he's Mac Jones, I call him Mac and Cheese, because that's what he literally plays like. He plays like the sound of macaroni and cheese when you stir it inside the pot, making that squishy sound. That's how he plays. You want to acknowledge that you like, but some actually don't acknowledge that you hate either. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling when you can't acknowledge it or you can acknowledge it. You're 50-50. And with this one, when you can't acknowledge someone who has the nickname Mac and Cheese, and he's coming up there and he's playing terrible, that is not all at the fault of Mac Jones. It has to go with the leadership within this team. It has come time that we definitely have to acknowledge. Now, you've had 4 off seasons. to try to build something without Tom Brady. Okay. You have to have some type of progression. Whether or not Joey, I believe his stats definitely over the past 3 years, because I remember hearing something about the other day where they've gone 1-3 to start the past 3 seasons. Okay. And that's probably why the 2020 was omitted, because I think they started out like 2-2 or something like that, if I remember right. I don't think they went 1-3 in 2020, if I remember right. But hey, don't throw shade at me if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure over the past 3 seasons they've been 1-3. I believe he was right about that. But whether it was 1-3 or 2-2, there's no progression there, Kyle. There's no progression that we're seeing out of this team. Bill Belichick is widely known before he even came to New England as being this defensive mastermind, and where he's been with Cleveland and New York and all this other stuff before, and even with his first go around with the Patriots as their defensive coordinator. And you give up 38 points to the Dallas Cowboys, to a dumpster Pelican-like offense, but yet I'm talking about how much of a great defense they have that can potentially give the 49ers problems this upcoming weekend. We're going to just let go of all that, of what the Cowboys did, and sit here and say that the Patriots are not on the hot seat because Bill Belichick has supposedly got this grand defense that he's had in the league for over 40 years, established in the NFL, and you're going to get your worst blowout loss. I believe it is the beginning of the end for Bill Belichick. You've had 4 years to try to figure this out with Tom Brady. Not to say that Tom Brady is God's gift of football, the quarterbacks. He just played well within the system, did his job, took care of his body, and took with nutrition and exercise to where he could play until age 45. I used to throw so much shade on Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II, but I had to actually give him his props when it comes to talking about the New England Patriots right here. When I sit here and I think about the fact that Tom Brady goes in there and leaves there and goes to the Buccaneers and wins in his first year away, and that starts the decline of the Bill Belichick era. If you're Robert Kraft, you need to
stop it. Get some help.
Because you need it. You need help at the head coach position, because Bill Belichick just isn't doing it anymore.
You know, the only thing more sinister than you're pitting me against Joey Ray with your ACC topic is this effort that you're putting in here. First of all, I keep warning you not to use bad data against the data man, and you done bleeped up, AA Ron. I mean, you're not AA Ron, but you see where I'm going. First of all, you know the only reason the Bucs didn't do what they did before they got Tom Brady is because Jameis Winston is that effing bad. And right now, Baker Mayfield's having success with this roster, and you're going to come at me that the reason they won a Super Bowl was Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. And I see your face, but Kyle, I've thrown shade at Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. Bro, here, let me reenact one of your video clips. Are you ready? Thomas Edward Patrick, wait a second. But you're going to try to get me to believe you threw shade at him? Stop it, Drew Willingham. Stop it. Get some help. Okay?
Stop it. Get some help.
See, that's a great producer. I talked massive ish on him, and he still comes up big with the dang video. That's what I'm talking about, Drew Willingham. You don't deserve L's in your name. You should be Drew Wingham, okay? That's what you are from now on. You fly. Anyway.
I don't fly like this, though.
You're tripping about the whole situation. Let me get my husband on the line.
Okay.
Big 21, big 25. Big 25. I got one gun.
That criminal bait may be nowhere to be found, but I'm still here. I will face you.
Hey, listen, I know you will. That's the sign of a great producer. Another great video, and one that took a few seconds so that the performer, who's obviously getting a little tired playing hurt tonight, had a little bit of time to rest. It's beautiful. Okay? But for all your alleged standing for the Patriots, of course you had this take to go on the Brady side. By the way, where's Tom Brady right now? Oh, right. Probably divorce court. Anyways, listen, here's my whole thing. Okay? Damn! We know Tom Brady's done. But Bill Belichick, you can't rule out pulling off a miracle. And oh, by the way, in the name of you making more data arguments, you're going to blame Bill Belichick's defense for your boy Mac and Cheese and his 3 turnovers in the game in question. Stop it.
Would you please shut the hell up?
That's what I throw at you, Kyle Nash. Coming up here throwing all that shade. It's a thunderstorm going on over here in Virginia. I'm trying to weather the storm with what you were throwing at me right now.
Then don't call it the whirlwind, baby.
That's why I didn't blame the defense. I stayed away from the defense.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
See what we got here in the comments. As Dante is saying, get him, Nash. Throwing at us again one more time. Again, Kyle Nash is lighting us up with the fire. Definitely came prepared. He's still a good coach. The Patriots and Steelers are in the same boat. They're not good enough for a Super Bowl and too good for a high draft pick. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that too. Even Dante after that was loving the shenanigans, as it was all out shenanigery for the past 10 minutes is what it felt like.
That's the new word tonight, invented by Drew Willingham. Shenanigans.
No, I actually cannot take credit for that. That was invented by the wrestling realm, as I was recently on one of their shows, and that was actually one of their coin phrases. I came up with Dumpster Pelicans along with that group for that. I can't take their thunder away for that word right there. I have to give them credit where it's due.
Because shenanigery is the best way to describe Drew Willingham in the evening. D-Will in the evening.
Yes, which you can check out Thursdays at 11:15 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, thank you very much for that. Bing from, and as always, from Kyle Nash. A quarterback makes a huge difference. Yes, Dante, actually definitely makes a huge difference. And in this case right here, where we were going back and forth with the Patriots, and you bring up the Steelers case too with your last statement, they've had some woes with Kenny Pickett and now having to rely on Mitch Trubisky. That's definitely a wild scenario over there in Pittsburgh right now.
Just like ACC at work again.
Absolutely. Drew and Kyle and Joey. Yes, Ryan McCarthy is in the house.
Hey!
No credentials required. Bing, which you can find on his network on YouTube. Shout out to Ryan McCarthy. Recently hit 300 subscribers. Definitely working his way on up there. It is tough to get there and definitely do things. So appreciate the jumps and the little bits of spikes here and there as they come, because it's definitely tough out here on the YouTube. So hats off to you, brother. You're definitely going to catch up to those of us very, very soon with the type of content that you put out there each week. Definitely a fan of Ryan McCarthy's channel. You guys go check out No Credentials Required. Give it a subscribe if you haven't. Like, share, and subscribe just like you do with this show right here in this channel. I greatly appreciate you for looking out for my homies. When it comes to this topic right here, Kyle and Joey were split. I came in there kind of side with Joey, and Kyle still lit us up like a freaking Christmas tree here in October. That's how you know he's a mother, father, and professional right here with round 3. Moving on up, unlike Bill Belichick and the Patriots, to the east side.
Ryan.
And that's where, when it comes to that statement right there, I'm going to bring it back on up. I got to give Ryan as we all give the yeses at the end of the transition. I'm making that into a short. That was great when it comes to that one right there. Just announcing it right ahead of time. And Dante Hill, for the last comment before we go to the next round, would you be all in if the Patriots can get Caleb Williams?
I mean, if you're into Luke Skywalker being on the dark side, sure.
If you want to see the dark side get improved, yeah, if that's how you feel. But you, as an Eagles fan, Dante Hill, I figured that you, as far as this statement right here, would say that.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
Still a great statement to throw out there, though.
I mean, he'd be in the other conference. The Eagles would be safe, right, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but all I'm gonna say is as a Panthers fan, I can tell you it is not worth it trading everyone away for a number 1 quarterback. Don't do it.
Oh, that was great. Definitely.
I haven't seen that much spice from Joey Ray. I hope I'm an inspiration. That was awesome. I mean, I'm sorry. But that was
hey, I forgot. I actually I put Jonah is in earlier, but I forgot to acknowledge Jonah's statement. My apologies, Jonah. He said he stands by what he says, and I want to bring that back up because we did not cover that. Bill has had time to develop Mac Jones into that franchise quarterback. Bill has every right to be on the hot seat. I won't take away from the accomplishments, but the fact that you've started this season, won the toilet side of things, isn't the team's fault. It's the coach's fault for not properly preparing the team. That goes along with what Joey and I were saying.
Yeah, and again, it was only the word undoubtedly that turned me.
Hey, I did throw it out there for a reason, but when you bring up Joey's points of how they've started the past 3 seasons, how they've played overall the past 4 seasons since Tom Brady's departure, and Bill Belichick was the big one wanting to kick Tom Brady out. They could have got one more Super Bowl, and he could have had a 7th potentially. I don't know because the way the team was around him. But if you just want to throw that to the argument side, that alone, with the way these seasons have gone, and you kicked out Tom Brady, who everyone around, except for those out there who love Joe Montana, are saying he's the greatest of all time, you could have had a 7th in New England, but instead, old Belichick booted him out the door.
I mean, if you're going to call yourself the greatest of all time, you should be able to run the football reliably, too. I'm just saying.
You're not the running back, too, though, Kyle Nash.
No, it's called being a versatile quarterback. Just ask Patrick LaVon Mahomes II.
Yeah, but then when I hear Chris Collinsworth comparing Isaac Pacheco to Marshawn Lynch, that's where I have a problem when they're talking about the running game.
Hey, listen, you leave that dude that's stealing people's money out of this, man. Come on.
Sticky bandits, the wet bandits stay on the money. And Bill has had chances, but someone needs to light that fire back under Bill, and maybe the Pats could go back to that form from the past. I don't know, man. Old people are set in their ways. He's on up there in age. He's going to have to change things about the dynamic style of his game because people have caught on. What he's been doing over the last 30 to 40 years as part of coordinator and head coach isn't going to cut it anymore is what it's looking like. That's what the overall picture is looking like.
Kind of like Joe Gibbs when he came back.
Very, very true. Now, his style worked to at least improve the formerly known as the REDSKINS in that time to where they were playing better than what they were. But his style was exposed to the rest of the NFL that after he was having that early success on, people caught on to where the second half of those seasons, they weren't really producing the way they started the gate out because he would make a few changes during the offseason. They would catch on early enough to where they didn't finish the season as hot as they started. So Gibbs definitely brought positivity to the spark, but the difference between their ages is they're around the same age range as they were, I believe, very close to what Joe Gibbs was coaching then to what Bill Belichick's coaching now. The difference is Joe Gibbs had a break from the game, was able to recover from all those years he put into, because it does take a lot out of you. You miss family time. There's a lot of stuff that we don't even need to go on about. Yeah. But I think Bill Belichick is just overall drained, and he's not letting it on. And you can see it. I mean, dude, look at the picture that I had up here for round 3, especially the one where he looks like freaking sloth. Okay. Look at this bottom corner right here. Let me take this comment away so you can see his face right there. The third one from the left, bottom close to 50-yard line. I mean, that other one looks like a mugshot, but that was actually a post-game interview at one point. He looks rough out here in these streets. When it comes to those comments, though, Jonah, definitely great. And Dante is loving what we have to say about these comments, especially Jonah's comment right there. Now I'm envisioning a Home Alone remake with Marshawn Lynch, Isaiah Pacheco as the wet bandits and taking the money.
starring who's the new Cowboys running back, the old TCU guy, the little dude, Deuce. But yeah, he could be Macaulay Culkin's role.
It's definitely not Deuce. Definitely not.
Yeah. By the way, would you say that Joe Gibbs' second campaign coaching kind of raced by?
Yeah, it did. It was very quick.
Joey Raymond, I physically hurt Joey Raymond with that one.
Joseph definitely that one. I don't think it's going to be that easy to go back to the dominant Patriots. That division is tough.
That's the other thing. That's a great point, Dante. It's not so much that Bill is worse per se. Everybody in that division got better.
Very, very true, Dante. And Deuce Vaughn was the name, as Kevin McAllister says.
All right, thank you, Ryan. You always say today when I'm a little slow. Right on.
There it is. Way to crush it there, guys. We'll bring up some more comments after we get to the next round. We've got to go to the 4th round now, as we've got a special by the numbers segment for you. We'll see you here in just a second with round 4.
Round 4.
With round 4, by the numbers segment is back. Kawhi Leonard is the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 2 in all of sports history. With that statement ahead, let's go ahead and go with you, Joey, when it comes to this one. Do you agree with the statement at hand? Are you in or are you out on this one for number 2? Great.
No, absolutely not. Out. No, I went with Moses Malone. I did stick with basketball, but I definitely just don't believe that Kawhi would he's just he's a drama queen, and I don't love that. And then B, the fact that overall his play just doesn't amass to the fact that Moses Malone, he played for a lot of different teams, but he's been an NBA MVP 3 times, was an All-Star 12 times, 8-team All-NBA team. Just all in all, a much better overall player. He just outplays Kawhi, hands down, not even a question. Kawhi Leonard is not the greatest to wear the number 2. I would have also could have probably made an argument for Derek Jeter, but even then, that's kind of pushing it. But
okay, well, there's Joey's take. He definitely wants to go with Moses Malone on this one, which is a very solid take. Do you agree with this when it comes to Joey's take of Moses Malone, or as far as being out, or are you in when it comes to this one, Kyle, for number 2?
First of all, Moses Malone is an excellent take. I almost went there. But if you're trying to sell me Kawhi Leonard, listen, call me Clay Aiken. I am out. Listen, maybe Joey Raymond is the guy who alleges to baseball wasn't brave enough to do it, but I'm going to swing for the fences. You're damn straight it's the captain that's the best choice here. The revitalization that is the Yankees, such as they were, and listen, call me biased a little if you want, but my departed dad, may he rest in peace, was a huge Yankees guy. And listen, baseball didn't take for me. I'm sure it's something that is very sad for him overall. But hey, listen, I played 6 years of Little League, and I figured out I didn't like it. It's okay. But at the end of the day, it's this. Derek Jeter literally called the captain, and somebody who had to try to keep Alex Rodriguez's dramatic self under control and in check at third base. That's in itself an accomplishment. But to do what they did, to win the World Series they did, and listen, I know on their watch, Boston got their revitalization too, and we had to listen to Go Sox for entirely too long. I get it. That could cause pain for plenty of people, not just Yankees fans. But what he did with the franchise as a player, doing what he did, not to mention the mystique surrounding him and what he did in the city that never sleeps and all the alleged care packages he gave out to the ladies out there in New York, if you know what I'm saying. That in itself is mystique that is perfect for Kawhi's number 2. Okay, listen, when it comes to Kawhi, it's load management. But with that other comment I made, then what is Derek Jeter managing? Is that a load? Anyways, that's I'm sticking to it.
Okay. You guys give some really solid takes for this one. And, I actually had somebody else in mind that was completely different than what you guys said. But after circling back and forth on it, Joey's take really surprised me on this one. I would have thought that he would have gone with Jeter because of him and his infatuation with the game of baseball, like myself. Okay, I'm not throwing shade on him. I'm just saying, I thought that he was going to go with Derek Jeter. It was on purpose for him to go out on this one, as well as you, because I picked Kawhi Leonard, and nobody really likes Kawhi Leonard because he is a crybaby. And of course, he's probably up there in the top 10 to greatest where number 2, but definitely not the greatest. So with that, I have to agree with you guys since I'm out as well. Which brings the question, who in the father are you picking for this statement right here? I'm going to call myself out on it and just go off and say, who are you going to pick? Well, I'm going to give that answer right now. It is time to agree with Kyle Nash, because Kyle Nash brings some great points to the table. And Kyle Nash, not even the baseball guy, comes up here and gives facts to the baseball guy, that being Joseph. I have to give him credit where it's due right there. Look at Derek Jeter. He's a 14-time All-Star, a 5-time World Series champion with the World Series MVP on top of that in 2000. He was the AL Rookie of the Year. It's harder in all sports. I'm sorry. But in baseball, it is the hardest sport to get the Rookie of the Year award out of all awards, because you got to think about how many rookies come up in a season. You don't know exactly when in the season you're going to get called up. Sometimes you start the season in some cases for some rookies. Sometimes you don't get called up till like July or like in late May or June or whatever, like in with Ellie De La Cruz's case, where he didn't qualify for the All-Star game, right? Where he could still qualify for the Rookie of the Year. But at the same time, when it comes to that, he didn't make it to the All-Star game. So that's just an example. When it comes to Derek Jeter, he had a lot of pressure coming up on him because of how he got into the game. You know, he was high prospect early on. And Derek Jeter, in my opinion, had the toughest road and the most scrutiny out of all the teams in the MLB. You got to play in New York on top of that, where you got a lot of media to deal with at a very young age. On top of that, you had to work for the Steinbrenner family. The Steinbrenner family is enough pressure, let alone being in New York, okay? And you not only got 1, 2, 3, 4, but you got 5. And you went to other World Series and had other opportunities to win more. However, we already know you fell short in a few of those, but still, you still made it to the dance. It only took a change in manager going from Buck Showalter, which we already saw what happened this past season with him in New York, to going to Joe Torre. And it's amazing how one little change like that in leadership can definitely make some things happen for a franchise. So when it comes to that, you had great leadership, but you also had a great shortstop, the captain for a reason, your leader for many years. It's tougher, again, to be a leader in baseball than it is in football because of the type of schedule, and you have 162 games plus playoffs. It is a long, grueling season. And for the captain to do that is one thing. For Kyle Nash to come onto my show and to bring up baseball in a by the numbers segment, this has to be one of the greatest shows of all time as far as episodes of the history of this show, because I cannot wait to go back and look at that at some point.
See,
hey, listen. Oh, go ahead, Joey.
The difference is that if Kyle Nash says Derek Jeter, you're like, whoa, Kyle Nash went baseball. If I bring it up, you're like, Homer. He's a Homer.
Hey,
right.
In my defense, I sided with you on the other two split. Okay.
Yeah, there's that.
I gave Kyle his flowers on this one, and I had already predetermined Derek Jeter. I thought this could have potentially been 3 in a row. Wait, I didn't know there was another one you kind of threw a curveball on, but I didn't. This could have potentially been 3 in a row we sided for. You went against and didn't pick Derek Jeter when it was obvious that he was greater than Moses Malone. Well, he's got 5 championships to Moses Malone. What, 1?
Here's what your self-consciousness did, Joey Raymond. You prevented the one unanimous take that should have happened from happening. But it's okay. I'm only this confident to pick baseball thanks to Drew Willingham falling to me about Winnie the Pooh host. So at the end of the day,
Kyle Nash
ever come up with.
Kyle Nash again with the fire. And I even had to fact check myself there real quick. Yes, Moses Malone only won 1 mother-fathering championship. With that being said, let's see what comments we have for this 4th round before we take our last commercial break. Miami is on a rise as well. Buffalo is better as well. The Jets need help, though, going back to that round 3.
The Jets need help, but they're still better than they've ever been. That's the point. Even the weakest link in the chain is stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, even Zach Wilson stopped chasing Cougars playing better ball because of what he experienced in 3 months with Aaron Rodgers and training camp.
Okay? The Sauce Gardner before we go after the Cougar chaser, damn it.
It's between Jeter and Kevin Garnett.
Garrett.
Kevin Garnett wore number 2 as well.
It's Kevin Garrett. That's not him.
No, he put Jeter and Garrett. I mean,
I thought that was some baseball player I don't know. I'm sorry.
No. It was an accident. It was a typo. It was a typo. But I got what he's saying. Jeter and Garnett. Garnett did wear number 2.
Did he?
But yeah, he did. It was a very short period of time. I believe it might have been when he was in Brooklyn or with the Timberwolves. I can't remember. It might have been a second go around with the Timberwolves. I can't remember. But he did wear 2 because I believe he wore that when he was younger, because he came out of high school. Because of when he came into the league. So I think he might have wore that in high school as well, and he paid homage to himself in the league. I can't remember the exact story, but I do know that he wore number 2. I saw that when I was researching it. But even if he only wore number 2 for a short period of time as one, but he only has one NBA championship. And Moses Malone was more impactful to the teams that he played for and played in a harder era. Garnett had to team up with other stars in order to get his championship with the Celtics. It was so he actually did that. Do what?
So did Jeter.
And Jeter did too, but baseball is a different game, and you kind of do have to load up a little bit in certain aspects, whether it's pitching or defense, one or the other in offense, in order to get the job done. So I don't give too much shade to that as I do for basketball, because basketball, you only have 5 people on the floor. Okay, so you really only need 2 great players and 3 role players around you in order to. You don't need to have 3 and 4 great players on the team just to dominate and say that you got a championship. Malone played in a harder era. Of course, did it with Dr. J back in the day. But when I think about everything, Jeter had a pretty lengthy career, like 20 years, and was a 14-time All-Star and had a World Series MVP on top of the other 5. It's one thing if you're going to say he was part of a great team, Joey, and got brought into a championship and didn't earn it like Jose Canseco did his last time with the Yankees, okay? But Jeter has a World Series MVP, and he's no slouch. A slouch doesn't get an MVP no matter what the year is. Out of 1 out of 5 World Series championships, he has an MVP. My hat's off to him. That's why he got this in this take of the round 4.
Now, for the record, I do have, and for the longest time, had a Derek Jeter poster on my wall growing up as a kid. So I mean, no disrespect to Jeter at all, but yeah. I mean, go ahead, Kyle.
Here's what I know. They called Derek Jeter to the captain, and the nickname for that team for the top player wasn't Dr. Mo, it was Dr. J. That's all I'm throwing out there.
Yeah, those are great points, but I wouldn't doubt that somewhere in all that paraphernalia behind Joey, there's Derek Jeter something in that paraphernalia behind it, whether it's a signature or a bobblehead. Because Joey's famous for the bobbleheads. I'm sure there's a bobblehead of Derek, mother, father, and Jeter in there somewhere.
I don't know if I do have a Derek Jeter bobblehead. If I don't, I need to get one.
That's your task during the next commercial break. We have 2 minutes. See if you got a Derek Jeter bobblehead behind you. Because we have a 2-minute commercial break coming up here in a second after we go through the rest of these comments. My bad, Kevin wasn't 2. Yes, he actually did wear number 2 at some point, Dante. No, you were right originally the first time. I saw it when I was researching it, but he just didn't wear it long enough and make enough impacts in number 2 to where I could even bring him to the debate with this one. But you were still right. He still did wear number 2.
And throw love to Hefe and Cole. F anything, Boston. How about
I can name athletes who wore number 2 who are better than Kawhi. Yes. This was a fire starter to get everybody lit up to go definitely throw the shade of Kawhi on this one. And Joey started out perfectly by saying how annoying of a player he is. So that's my quarterback, Kyle Laugh Out Loud, says Ryan McCarthy. Got to go have fun, guys. Well, thanks, Jonah, for tuning in. We appreciate you joining in for a little bit. It was when he was in Brooklyn. My bad. Yes, that's what I said earlier. So
how long did he really play while he was doing that? I'm just.
Oh yeah. It was definitely not worth the time there in Brooklyn. Well, guys, thank you for the comments. Again, unlike TNT, we spread our commercials. We're doing great with that tonight. We got one more commercial break, and when we come on back, we got 2 more rounds of action for you before we round it on out. We'll see you back in about 2 minutes. Joey, look for that bobblehead.
Football, and more football, you say? Well, tune in to Total Football Talk. Join your hosts, Drew Willingham.
You were playing like a dumpster Pelican quarterback.
And Cole Johnson.
It sets up a possible play action. Did you hear that, Dak Prescott?
As they take you through all the paces, both on the field and in the boardroom, of Total Football Talk. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Exclusively on the SIRTOBA Media and the Comey Media Incorporated YouTube channel. If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Colt Johnson, and welcome to
Cold Sports with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon and every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets.
Ladies and gentlemen, in or out, Sports Debate with an S is back on your screen, and we hopefully have a search and recover on a bobblehead from Joseph. Did he come through?
So I don't have a Derek Jeter, but I have one that'll make you even happier.
Okay.
I have Winnie the Pooh holes.
Winnie the Pooh is in the house for Kyle Nash, and I have to give him this.
I love it. Oh, man.
That was great.
By the way, Drew Willingham, listen, as momentous an occasion as this show with the all-time leader in volume of appearances in Joey Ray and me, the all-time leader in percentage in appearances in myself. The biggest thing about this episode is we went almost 90 minutes in before there was a speck of LeBron hate from you, Drew Willingham. That's an accomplishment. Well done.
Clap to myself on that one. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm doing the best I can out here in these streets. And again, that was a commercial. That wasn't even me. The time
That's
is
correct. I was going to add that in.
It still goes. I now have to watch what I say because this could set an all-time record for my personal self. So we'll see.
Hey, man, if you don't hate on LeBron, I will.
Oh, you want to tell us, are you?
Yeah, luckily, we don't have any basketball topics so far on the show, but I might have to think about that for next Trios episode that we do at some point. With that being said, we've got a bonus round because I did say there were 6 topics. And before we go into that, I kind of didn't have this one on the last one. We just did round 2 is by the number. Well, round 4 is by the numbers because it was episode 102. Now we're going to kind of circle back so we can keep along with the lines of it because I got a special project in store once we complete the numbers at some point in the future. And the only way we can do that is if we go to this bonus round to go back to number 1. Here with the bonus round, Warren Moon is the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 1 in all of sports history. We'll go ahead and start this one out with the legend Kyle Nash. How do you feel about this one, sir? Do you agree with this statement? Is Warren Moon the greatest to ever wear number 1 in all of sports history?
Listen, I'm going to shoot for the moon on this one. I am in. While he never had a Super Bowl officially, him having Grey Cups was the best he could do for a while because people were disrespecting him for completely the wrong reason. And Warren Moon ran through and played quarterback so others after him could. We're in a place now where the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, I can make an argument, are not necessarily, well, let's just say, aren't lighter than my complexion. And over and above all of that, he happened to just be really damn good at the sport as well. I know that matters. Isn't that fun? You know, at the end of the day, we can feel like the quarterback position is more of a meritocracy than it's ever been in the past. And Drew's Red Tails are about to continue the same by having Rich Rod and Eric Bieniemy back to back. Yeah, I'm making a social conscious decision here, and I'm not even an SJW. The punchline is this. Looking through the list of other potential number 1s, there's a lot of tragedy, right? Anthony Hardaway, Derrick Rose, damn. If I wanted this many untimely endings, I don't want that many untimely endings. What are we talking about here? I'm in Orlando. I'm in a place that has Anthony Hardaway, Grant Hill, Markelle Fultz, and Jonathan Isaac. Stop with the injury endings. Damn it. Anyways, the punchline's this. I got to have Warren Moon. Maybe he doesn't have as many Super Bowls. Maybe he doesn't have MVP numbers that other quarterbacks, great quarterbacks, have. But he played the position great for a franchise that was struggling and really wasn't, well, no, I mean, what they have before him, Earl the Pearl. Okay, listen, I like Earl Campbell too, but there had been quite a drought in greatness before Warren Moon showed up and they took a chance. on the Canadian Football Star. That became something much more. And he was even able to revitalize his career, as Drew very wisely showed with his graphic, to do some damage wearing purple for the Vikings. I got to pick Warren Moon here.
Very, very solid take on that, Kyle. I like it. How do you feel about that, Joey? Do you agree with this one at hand when it comes to the statement of being in with Kyle on Warren Moon? Do you agree? Are you in or are you out on this one?
This one was hard for me for all of the points that Kyle Nash just made, but I'm going to go with out. Only because I have to follow the yellow brick road to the Wizard of Oz himself. I've got to go with Ozzie Smith, man.
Very good.
Dude, absolute baller. That dude could, I don't know that, we were talking about Derek Jeter. I don't know that there is a better shortstop on the face of this planet than Ozzie Smith. Winning just absolute gold glove after gold glove, literally got it for 13 consecutive years, 15-time All-Star, accumulated just under 2,500 hits, just under 600 stolen bases, literally arguably one of the best shortstops, if not one of the best baseball players of all time. I've got to go with Ozzie Smith. At least one of my favorites ever to play. That dude could really play some baseball.
Look at how smooth this dude is. Says, Kyle goes homer. I am safe. Let's go.
Okay. Well, you know what, guys? With this one, we've got another split. And, throughout this entire show, when it comes to the split, it's been a decisive factor on who's more in or who's more out on the topic. In this case, is a split within the other split, because I agree with Joey on being out on this. Even though Kyle brings some great points with Warren Moon, I'm out. However, before I give the final word of that, before it goes to the transition, it's not for who Joey just said. I am out. Oh, yeah, people.
Let me talk to you.
When it comes to this situation right here, I had to give it a little bit of extra dramatic pause when it came to that and say out twice, because with this one, it was another tough one because Kyle was great with his take on Warren Moon. Joey was great on his take with Ozzie Smith. But the decisive factor, even though I'm larger in baseball than I am with football and basketball as far as participation in the things that I just know off the back of my head. Football is very close. I have just as much knowledge of football. I'll take that back. However, when it comes to baseball, it was very tough for me to go against this one because of what Ozzie Smith did and what he meant to the Cardinals. Throughout that 15-year stretch, he did win that World Series championship, and in that NLCS time frame, 3 years later, when he was in the NLCS, when they went to the World Series the second time and lost, he was the MVP that season. So he went to multiple World Series, only winning one. But I have to take this to basketball, and I have to take this to a harder era of all the eras we discussed. This was a harder era than what even Jordan played in. Okay. I have to go back to the 60s in the early 70s and look at someone who wore the number 1 and was a very impactful player for the then Cincinnati Royals for 10 seasons, and then following up for another 5 seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks. And then during that time frame, he won a championship with Lou Alcindor, who then eventually became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But when I look at the greatest to wear number 1 of all sports figures in all history, I got to give it to Oscar Robertson. Okay. Now Oscar Robertson. I have to give it to him. When I look at number 1, he was the NBA most valuable player in 1964. When you look at players he's playing against like Wilt Chamberlain and all that back in the day, and he's getting the NBA MVP, he's no slouch. We're just talking about Derek Jeter with the last one, trying to throw shade at him because he played on this great team. Okay, he had so much great help on that team, Joseph. But I look right back here, and I look at Oscar Robertson, and you get an NBA MVP during a time when you got some all-time greats playing. You look at also with the Celtics as well, and the legends that they had playing there too. Bill Russell. All this going on with all these players playing at that time frame. A harder hitting style of basketball. times where they didn't even make up the new pacified rules that you get with all these flops nowadays, okay? And what we've seen over the past 20 years. I have to give it to the greatest to ever wear number 1 playing in a harder style of NBA basketball. That is Oscar Robertson is who I have for number 1. I'm sorry, fellas, but I have to respectfully disagree with some animations.
Dude, I had Big O on my list.
Yeah, for sure. I think no matter out of any of the 3 that there was that we picked, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think, we all pick different sports. I mean, at least in their respective sports, they're definitely the best to wear number 1. So you could definitely make that argument, for any of those guys.
I mean, or maybe Joey and I are just really big homers. It's fine.
No. I mean, I think when it comes to all 3 of our takes with this, everybody needs to
acknowledge me.
All 3 of us. Everybody needs to do that for all 3 of us who are watching this show live or syndicated. When it comes to our take, that was beautifully said by all of us. And I knew I couldn't top what you guys said, but I at least could bring the fire with the energy and at least try to bring it that way to at least match what you guys had to say. Let us know here in the comments how you guys feel about that statement right there with the bonus round. We have 1 more left to tackle, and that is the final round. Let's go ahead and see what we got in store for that one.
Final round.
Oh, here we go with the Denver Broncos when it comes to this topic right here for the final round. Russell Wilson's victory for the Broncos over the Bears in week 4 will be the greatest comeback of this season for the NFL. This one goes to Joseph to start off the final round, keeping it within the flow of the current format of this episode. Joseph, how do you feel about this statement right here? Are you in or are you out on this one?
Okay. Here's the thing. You can't call the Bears an NFL team when I guarantee you that you pick any ACC team, and they could probably beat the Bears. They are that bad. And that, Kyle Nash's face says it all. But yeah, I am out.
Joseph is out.
I mean, come on. The Giants are terrible too, and they, still were able to make somewhat of a comeback against the Cardinals. Not only that, but we're so early in the season that who knows what we're going to get, way later. I mean, we even have an extra week of football. And so, to sit and say that, that this is going to be the greatest comeback of the season is just, it's too early to tell for me. And not only that, but it's against the Bears. I mean, the fact that you even had to come back against the freaking Bears, they're so freaking bad. The Panthers are better than the Bears, and the Panthers haven't won anything either. I can't even call the Bears an NFL team. They're not worthy of it. They're not that good.
You got a solid take there, Joseph. With that, it's going to be interesting to see how it's argued. But when it comes to that, Kyle, do you agree with him? Are you out on this one as well?
See, I know this is another carefully crafted question, and my answer will tell you exactly why. But my status on this question would be exactly the same as what happens if Joey Ray ever invites me out for a beer. I'll be out. It's like I'll 100% leave the house to have beer with Joey Raymond. You know what else is out? Apparently your faith in your own team, Drew Willingham. You know what? There's a better comeback by your Red Tails, albeit with horrible officiating on a 2-point conversion to close the game against the team in question in those Broncos. Oh, the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, that's a huddle up / Simpsons drop whenever I say Denver Broncos. Check out the Huddle Up podcast there. Another one of the ones that has a YouTube channel that airs the student of the game, just like SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Bing! But that was a better comeback than anything the Bears and the Broncos had up there in that game. And Drew, just completely with this question, intentionally, I believe, just his own red tails all the same. Maybe he's because he wants to bring it up too, and will do so eloquently and pay homage to Eric Bieniemy and the guy who has so many L's in his name because he's going to lose a lot of games at quarterback, and that's fine. But that's the correct answer so far in this season, if you ask me. Joey Raymond liked that answer.
Good take.
You know what? I can't disagree with this one. Kyle Nash. You said the greatest comeback would be who you keep calling the Red Tails, formerly known as the REDSKINS, the Washington team of football, hashtag WTF, the Commanders, okay? Except for they may have come back to tie the game, go to overtime, but they didn't win the game, so it technically doesn't count as a comeback, in my opinion, okay? So, yes, we can applaud them for coming back and kicking a field goal, but I don't applaud someone who goes to overtime and has the opportunity with 2 timeouts to call for a timeout at the end to try to ice the kicker in Elliott. No, you just let him trot on out there and kick the field goal to win the game. No, all you had to do is take your hand and take your other one and go like this and call for timeout to try to at least attempt to ice the kicker. Did you do that? No, Ronald Eugene Rivera, you did not do that. I took a page on the student of the game playbook right there with calling you by your full name, Ronald Eugene Rivera. Did you or did you not call timeout? I'm going to go with no because the proof is in the videotape pudding. Look at the evidence right here. You do not get the slide right here for the greatest comeback because you didn't complete it. In my opinion, I have to complete the task and actually come back and win the game in order to be considered part of a comeback, Kyle Nash. When I look at this situation right here with Russell Wilson's victory for the Broncos over the Bears, will it be the greatest comeback for the NFL? No, it will not! Because, again, you're playing the Bears like Joseph said. You cannot get excited about playing the Bears and being down by 21 points against the Bears, the biggest dumpster Pelican team of them all in the NFL. You cannot get excited about being down by 21 points and making a comeback as the Broncos because you were 0-3 coming into this game. You should be 0-4 because you were down by 3 touchdowns at one point in this game. So again, there's going to be other comebacks this year. We've already seen other comebacks within the first 4 weeks of the season. But what I will say is this. You do not get the pass for the greatest comeback of the season. And even if we go all the way through this entire season to the very end, as we have 13 more games in this season, if we go from here to then, you still won't have the greatest comeback because you did it against the Bears, who are playing absolutely terrible out here in these streets.
I mean, listen, Drew. Whether they won or not, the fact that I can somewhat accurately say the Red Tails had a better comeback really defends your point, does it not?
No, because they didn't win.
No, that's what I'm saying. The one that wasn't completed still looks better than the one you're citing. That's the point.
Yes. No. Yes. No. No, Kyle. It does not. I'm sitting here and telling you that they didn't win the game. And until they win the game, I don't care.
Trying to agree with you. A losing effort looked better than the actual win.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Kyle Nash. I'm just going to sit here and tell you that they don't have a greater comeback because they didn't actually win. Joseph, what is your take on this?
Yeah, like I absolutely agree. There's just no doubt in my mind that you can't. Like, I mean, and I reiterate, and like the Bears are awful, and the Broncos are awful, and to make this the greatest comeback of the season already with the 2 worst teams in the NFL, no, absolutely not. You're not gonna say that, Drew. It's not gonna happen.
Kyle Nash, look at what you have started up in this house right now when it comes to the house of the Inter-Out Sports Debate.
Hey,
depends if they can go and run.
It's okay.
I'll forgive you this time, Kyle Nash. I'll forgive you. Depends if they can go on a run. Sometimes a comeback win can create trust and belief. A win is a win. Hey, Dante, I mean, that's a solid point if the Denver Broncos were actually a good team.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
But when you have a 21-point deficit to the Bears and have to make a comeback again, I just can't jump on that bandwagon like some people out there with the articles that I was reading that inspired me to write this topic right here.
Hey, well, where can we find that article, Drew Willingham?
I'll have to forward it.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to say it for the people so they could find it.
No, I don't remember I just remember Google searching the Broncos and
got you. Okay.
The person that we know or anything. I'm literally got to go through my search history, find it.
I thought you were saying it was somebody we knew. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, because then we would definitely be throwing. We would
for you.
That shade would be enormous if that was somebody we knew. Oh yeah, I would definitely be throwing them out here. Oh yeah, you just don't you worry, Kyle Nash. You underestimate me if you feel like that was not going to be the case. But no, in my research, I stumbled upon kind of what was that app back in the day that was I think it was called Stumble Upon, something like that back in the day where you would stumble upon stuff. That's exactly what happened when I was searching the Google right there. But guys, we've gone through 6 great rounds on this show. We don't have much more left to tackle, but we're going to go ahead and tackle it anyway. Before we go any further, we have to acknowledge some recent updates to this.
Acknowledge me.
That's right. The In or Out Sports Debates Vault of Fame right here. We have Kyle Nash is now a 9-time Vault of Fame inductee with episode 103 here on the In or Out Sports Debate, followed by Joseph Raymond moves up to 19-time Vault of Fame inductee with this time. And I actually put 103 on accident with Kyle Nash. Should have been 102. Typo. I call myself out for the error on the show. But hey, nobody's perfect out here in these streets. People make errors sometimes. There's Joseph. It's 102. 19-time Vault of Fame inductee for Joseph. But I promise you the leaderboard is correct right here. When you look at the In or Out Sports Debate through 102 episodes, Joey's still at the top with 19 appearances, followed by Rob Johnson in second with 15, and Kyle Nash in third with 9 appearances apiece. You can find this show on SIRTOBA Media exclusively, where the struggle is real to be awesome. And to give that to you one more time, it's brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Absolutely. You can find this show again on the audio platforms listed above that we saw at the beginning, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for your video pleasure, and the SIRTOBA.com, where the struggle is real to be awesome. If you want to throw a little tippy, because I forgot to throw that commercial back in here, you can throw a little tippy here at DWilly87 cash.app /DWilly87 if you desire. Now we are back for episode 102, I promise. Not skipping into episode 103 as I accidentally did with Kyle Nash's graphic right there. Just trying to throw you out there, Kyle, trying to reel you back in for next week. No, again, we'll plan it out.
You got a good guest lined up for 103. I saw the commercial.
Absolutely. I confused your hair and his, even though there's nothing even close to comparison. There was some type of confusion where I got excited and put the 103.
My hair is still pretty dreamy. I'm just saying, give me my credit.
I give Kyle for his escalated age. I give him the credit of the hair up there on the top.
Hey, listen, I could still take you to the hole, Drew Willingham. Be careful.
You could, but you can't take me to the donations right here.
Because... hey, listen, locks up all you, homie.
Not much longer. I can't stand this anymore, bro, to be honest. I mean, off the subject of sports, I'm looking forward. I've already achieved 1,000 days. December 22nd will make 3 years exactly since I grew it out. I'm at least cutting it by then. I'm ready to get my normal hair back. Tired of spending all this time brushing my hair twice a day, putting it up. I have so much, even though I had enough respect for the females before, I'll get this on the air too. I have so much more respect for the females with the long hair because of the amount of time it takes to brush and maintain and putting all these different types of gels, oils, all sorts of stuff to keep it awesome. It's tough. The struggle is real to be awesome with the hair. So there's another pun for the plug. But guys, we've gone through the Vault of Fame. There's only one more thing we really have left to do before the outro. And that's something that Joey's going to be excited for my take for, and that is the final word. With the final word, you guys know, as we've had 101 previous episodes before this, but the final word is our spot to talk about anything within sports, professional wrestling, anything in the world. This is your floor. This is your couple minutes to do so. We'll go ahead and start this one out with Joseph and see what he has in store with the final word as a 19-time Vault of Fame inductee. Give us your final word there, sir.
Dude, I'm just excited for the baseball playoffs. Like, already crazy stuff has happened. And I'm definitely excited to kind of see more of what goes on. The Twins got their first, playoff win in like a million years. Just all in all, this playoff bracket has a lot of interesting storylines that I'm really looking forward to following. And then episode 3 of my new show, Sportsbology, is coming out. Should be probably Friday. Definitely check that out on the Sportsbology YouTube page now that we finally got that up and running. Took us a minute, but
nice.
that'll be fun. It's a fun show. It's for those individuals who are like trying to get into sports but maybe don't know a whole lot. So
very nice, Joseph. Joseph's doing some great things with that. And I did not know that you created a YouTube channel. Now that I will definitely have to look that up and hook you up with a sub tonight. Since
we literally just created it this week. So like it is like brand spanking new. Like I don't even know if we have the logo up yet. Like it is fresh.
I don't care. I'll throw you guys. I'll definitely throw you guys sub. Help spread the word. Joseph, if it wasn't for his contributions pre and now SIRTOBA, pre-development SIRTOBA and now SIRTOBA, it would not be potentially what it is today. So the least I could do, definitely hook you up with a sub and check it out, because the first couple episodes Joseph has been putting out there is fire. I definitely love the one guy that looks like Uncle Fester that definitely doesn't know any sports. They are training to know sports.
Yeah,
taking them under his wing. It definitely speaks volumes there. So keep doing what you're doing with that. Definitely has a lot of potential going forward, my man. So definitely proud to see that stuff.
I appreciate it, Drew.
So go ahead, Kyle Nash. It's your turn for the final word here for episode 10, Mother, Father, and 2 for Kyle Nash.
First of all, let me be clear, gentlemen, an honor, joy, and privilege to be a part of this 103. See, I did it. I didn't even do that as a joke. That's awesome. No, this is show 102. I'm not going to go full John Cena and say, and I blame you. No. Listen, man, at the end of the day, I don't mean to throw shade on your ACC. And as a matter of fact, Joey Ray, just in the name of showing other conferences their due, can somebody tell me why in the mother-fathering world Penn State is a top 10 team? Let me be clear about something. They have done precisely nothing. Nil, niet, niente. See, that's Italian for those of you that don't know any better. Oh, but Kyle, they beat Iowa. Who the hell cares? I mean, I know it's everything Boston, but F everything Boston. But technically, Peter Griffin is from Cohogro Island, so I think I'm safe. But the punchline's this. Why, oh why, as much as I'm trying or as much as I'm being told that that USC, Washington, Oregon are all supposed to be these great teams, but Penn State is still ranked higher than them, playing none of them. And not just none of those three, mind you, but none of them that are any good. Like, when your crowning achievement, I mean, granted, nothing is humiliating to struggling against Marshall. But when your greatest accomplishment is blowing Northwestern out of the water, what the bleep are we talking about right now? Okay? Like, no. Why is Penn State a top 10 team, fellas? It's driving me nuts. I had this argument with Mark Mancini, who came with this week's stuff in my house on the Student of the Game pod. Bing! Much love I have for him. He's a regular guest. But listen, somebody mentioned something about smoking something in particular. Sir, I present to you Penn State zealots that try to tell me they're a top 10 team. They damn sure ain't top 6. let alone. But that's all I have to say about that.
You guys bring some great final words to that. Definitely plug in, your own shows, and you guys are definitely doing some great things on those shows. Definitely a big fan of what these two guys are doing, and definitely a big reason why they are both on tonight's episode of episode 102. Definitely something that both of these guys both wanted to be on here for, and myself. And with trying to work out all the logistics of going from one show to four, having the limited schedule that I've had this year up until about the last 6 to 8 weeks, I've kind of taken the training wheels off, as I would say, the training wheels, because I just had to make sure everything was good before I went full blown again. Part of me knew that everything was going to be fine, but you still have some confidence things that linger on, and it's from the participation from guys like these two right here, along with other people that have come onto my shows, inadvertently, without them knowing, it kind of boosts up my confidence in a way, because with the way things happened earlier this year, it got knocked down a few pegs and I had to find it again. Deservingly so on some counts, but undeservingly so on many other ones that I'm not going to bring up on the air. But you guys know exactly what I'm talking about with that one. But when it comes to right here with the final word, Joey brought up something earlier in the show, sports related, that I want to come back with when he talks about the Chicago Cubs. Because we are going to talk about a little bit of baseball for a second, Joseph, because when it comes to right now, the shirt I'm wearing right now, straight out of the ATL, the baseball shirt right there, my man, because my Braves are looking pretty sweet right now. Matt Olson hitting over 50 home runs. They are red hot, looking pretty close to that World Series team that we just had a few years ago. So when you look at this right here, and you look at the Atlanta Motherfather and Braves, look at them hard, Joseph, because they're there and the Cubs aren't. That is my sports final word when it comes to that. But now I'm going to circle back around for the ending part of the 3-part final word, because I can. When it comes to this right here, mainly thank you all for tuning in and watching this, the shenanigans that I have on my shows. Of course, you have Total Football Talk, which is probably like the most serious that I'll be, along with some shenanigans, and Commander's Gridiron Report as well, since we're going to just name drop stuff up in here. You saw the commercials anyway, but it's my turn to name drop, since I don't really talk too much about it till the very end, because this is my network anyway. But when it comes to bing, 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 yes, absolutely, Kyle Nash, you killed it right there. But when it comes to that, and Kyle Nash had the big plug earlier for D. Willie in the evening, stepping outside of my comfort zone and just talking about random moments in my lifestyle so far. And that's not even really the whole synopsis of what the show's been. I've kind of just poked fun at myself for the previous 3 episodes, and I'm doing the same thing again for episode 4 this Thursday. So you guys get ready. I appreciate it. Each and every one of you for the subscriptions, the likes, the shares, everything. This show has definitely had a big part of it going now into through episode 102 and the other things that have been done. But if it wasn't for the people watching it, if it wasn't especially for the people who aren't even a part of it, clicking the share button and liking it on a regular basis and showing support regularly instead of just when they're actually on this show, when they're part of other networks, that means a lot too. So for those of you who are true and loyal and there each and every single week, not even every single episode, but the ones who are there on a regular basis to show support for someone who in some cases shouldn't even still be here or be breathing, I appreciate it very, very much. And I fought back very much to where now I'm fully healthy and fully restored. And eventually, some people, if they don't think about it now, are going to have a lot of what ifs of what it could have been like had we done our boy better out here in these streets. When it comes to episode 102 of the In or Out Sports Debate, that is the final word of this show. We've only got one more thing left to do. Salute off to one of the 2 best of the Vault of Fame of this show for coming together and making one awesome show that has eclipsed 2 motherfathering hours of airtime and has been killing it. My hat is actually legitimately off to you guys this time. Thank you very much for the participation and what you've brought to my show. We've only got one more thing left to do. Let's look at a semi-badass outro. Everyone, as always, stay safe out here in these streets.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get on up out of here. 102 is in the books. I will see you all back here next week.